Yo, Mario, yo, bless that beat, bless that beat.
Good evening, advancers, and welcome to another episode of Evening Markets. I'm your coach, Coach Tim. It's good to see everyone on tonight, and excited about getting the day started. I am, as you come on, say good evening, so I know that you're here and accounted for. And we got some stuff to talk about tonight as I'm multitasking. All right, well, let's get going. Good evening, everybody. Glad to see you all on. Let's open up in prayer. Father, we thank you for tonight. We thank you for another opportunity for kingdom, to see your hand upon your people, to see you leading and guiding us, that we would not lean to our own understanding, but you would direct us tonight, that you would give us the spirit of wisdom, the spirit of understanding that would rest upon your people to help us to be prosperous in this market. For this, we give you praise, honor, and glory for what you are doing in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, well, it's another segment of Evening Markets. You know how we do. I am going to pull up some charts, and let's get some charting time in. We're just crossing over that 8 o'clock hour. And let's get some charting in. Good evening, Diana. Good to see you. Dr. Torres here. Paula's here. Judy is here. Jeremy is here. Mia is here. Cool. Let's get going. I'm going to pull up my chart. We're going to see what we see. So, as always, we like to start off with doing our top-down analysis. I've done an initial analysis, but I want everybody to see how we do this. Like riding a bike, it's same thing over and over again. So let's start with the month. Jump to the month, and we'll cover a few things tonight. All right, so gold square, there is my liquidity square. Based off of the month, we saw this, so we'll repeat it again. August was a interesting month. We were pushed all the way down in a matter of a couple weeks, and then shot right back up into the zone. It came and retested resistance here, or old resistance that turned into support, held as support, but it did not, interestingly enough, produce a new high. All right, so this area down here is still in play. That spike down and then back up is still in play. See how low we can go as we end the month of September. It has been falling the last couple days, which has been really interesting, and we'll take a look at it. We know that that's a interesting level with the monthly 50. It coming to tap 2. This month opened up in September, and look what it came and tapped. It came and tapped the monthly, what is that, my 21 moving average? See that dance it did there on the 21? So that's interesting to note. Rejected off the 21 and stayed higher, right? Popped right back into this range on the monthly. So great movement when you look at that. Great movement up and down. It hasn't went anywhere, but great movement so far. Weekly, when we look at the weekly candle, what we see is, we know that the 200, weekly 200 was down there. But what's interesting to me is that it's creating successive lower highs. And that's what we're doing right now. We bumped up against this trend, created a lower high, lower high, lower high. This last lower high did not produce a lower low. That's also interesting that we found some sort of resistance there. We'll stretch that a little bit, looking left, and we see that that's been support there in the past. So we'll leave it on there as a significant level, and that creates our range. We've been getting lower highs, higher highs. On the weekly, go down to the day, and that's the range that we're currently in, is that last low was put in, last lower high that was put in, produced a higher low, and then it produced a lower high. So that's where we're currently at. And we're seeing if this level is going to get broken, if this level here will be broken, and could we potentially, if it does, then we'll potentially be coming up. But that's a little ways off to prove itself, not something that I'm looking at for tonight. All right, so stepping down, daily. Now that we're at the daily, we'll start introducing TDI because those will be at play. We can see the divergence here. So we're higher here. We're definitely lower here, or equal here. So that creates a little divergence that says that there will be a counter trend. That counter trend has already started to happen. MAs, we're still above the MAs. We're actually above VWAP right now. We're just testing the VWAP right now. So, but that's interesting. As this comes down, bands are starting to point up as this is coming down. So we may get a temporary move down, which is interesting. All right, 15-hour, and let's just skip down. So you see where the major levels are and where we're at in comparison to the major levels. So I don't want to spend too much time on the major levels. We're stepping down. We can see that we had divergence of the day. So you have a shark fin on the 8-hour. Pull up the 50 is sitting way down here. So that is a good range to have there. Interesting range to have there. Step down to the 4-hour. 4-hour bands have, just reading TDI, where TDI is. So we are getting a step down on the bands. That 4-hour divergence has played out, and it's played out down to the 50 or to the 21. Still should play down to the 50. Right, 50 is a level of support here where we may see price come down. All right, and we have right now, we do have divergence that is playing out. So does look like it will be bullish, but for the most part, we're getting a pullback on this. All right, so the hour is what I wanted to show you. Is we're kind of in this bearish trend on the way down. 21 MA on the hour is acting as resistance. Sometimes the 50 is acting resistance, but 50 is coming on top. Target tonight is going to be this 800, 200 cross on the 100, on the 1 hour. Excuse me. All right, so let me show you this so it's clear. Let me step down a little bit. So TDI is coming up a little bit. We're starting to get that divergence. We know we're rejecting off the 21 to 50. That last 7 o'clock candle had a lot of exhaustion, seller's exhaustion. 8 o'clock is going to go test that area to see if we can get back into these sales here. But this is the trend that's currently coming down. You see the head, the left shoulder, the head, the right shoulder, where we've been getting resistance off of that right shoulder here. And then we fell down, came retested, stayed low. So the sales is what I'm looking at for tonight. Looking at the top of this range to for the 8 o'clock candle to come. See the 7 o'clock. Okay, let me start there. See the 7 o'clock push down, has this big doji candle, and looking for 8 o'clock to hold that up. Looking for 8 o'clock to hold this up. So as this pushes up, and as the TDI becomes more and more extreme, then I'll be looking for sales down from there. And the range on that is just going to be top of range to bottom of range. If we get up here, we'll take a look at how it looks. But that 7 o'clock candle looks kind of where the sellers got exhausted. We know what happens when, you know, what happened before with sellers getting exhausted. That area gets tested a few times, and then it falls down, and then we can watch it fall. All right, what's interesting here is, so we're right in the middle right here with the 7 o'clock open. We're right in the middle. We're heading up to the top of the range. We'll see if that plays out. But what's interesting is this 15-minute was a shark fin. It was counter trend, came down, and now it looks like we're going to get some regular divergence here. Well, it may, I mean, you could account this as hidden divergence as well. MAs are just above, so you know that this shark fin here played down to the 50 perfectly. It's pushing up. So if this goes to create a higher and touches this and is divergent, potentially could be selling down back to the 50. So we'll watch that. Right now it's being bullish. It's looking bullish. So we'll see if that continues or not. That's as far as I want to go down tonight. 200 sit right here. So that's what I'm looking for. Tonight, and all we really need is a 1 to 2. But before we get there and start marking ideas, any questions on that? On the 10-minute, on the 10-minute what? All right, so that's the structure I'm looking at, is this downward trend is just doing its thing. Here, it touched the top, fell down, looking for that to come back up. As far as the position, I'm looking at just where my trend lines are. That's the top of the range, and possibly looking at some signals on maybe the 15-minute, maybe the 30. Some signals to show some extreme exhaustion is what I'm looking for, if that happens in the next hour. All right, so right now it looks bullish. Looks like we're going to climb up top of the range, but I want to take that to the bottom of the range. Bottom of the range, I want to take that to the top of the range for tonight, whichever one plays out first. And I'm looking for, it's right in the middle, so I don't want to take that one. When it pushes up, would love for it to get that exhaustion, and do like what the 7 o'clock is showing us. 7 o'clock is showing us a lot of buyer exhaustion. I guess that's buyer exhaustion. So yeah, that sell down wants to sell. It's right in the middle right now, so I don't want to take that right there. Want to take it up top. Might as well take it here. Take a small position here. All right, because we know we got to be pulled up here, and that's not the best spot to take it. We'd rather take it right here so we get a 1 and 2. Somewhere in here. That'd be nice. All right, so that's the trade idea that I'm looking at there. And let's talk about positions in entering and exiting these trades. Few things that I want to look at. This is the idea that I have for tonight. And yeah, we'll see how this idea works out. And night markets, because it moves so slow, I don't want to go too low. But this could potentially be a lower high. I just don't want to take it right here. That doesn't give me enough room to breathe. And breathing is important. Breathing is key. All right, let's take it here. I don't know if it's going to give us opportunity. Then we'll talk about where we get in, why we get in. All right, so let's figure out our risk first. Count the cost. Risk 650 to gain 1450, and or to gain 1,000 if we go to the bottom of the range. That's what we're going to be looking for. So let's do that. Let us do that. We got one position in, and I'm not interested in risking 650 tonight. I'm going to risk 1250, 1200. I think is my risk that I have on. And so let's see if it pushes up a little bit. Anyway, I'll enter 2 contracts, so we'll go right here. Put a buy stop in. We'll put a sell stop. So the buy limit. Buy limit in. All right, risk 1250 on that. All right, let's talk about this. So that trades in. Pull that back out. No reason to look at it from on the lower time frames because it's a slower market. Just pull it back out to the hour and look at it from an hour standpoint. No reason to watch it. This is how you go to sleep. Don't watch it on the lower time frames. Just leave it on the higher time frames. And probabilities, if it goes, you're 1 to 2. If it goes against you, come back the next night and get another 2 to 1 type trade. All right, so we'll let that play out, see if it is going. It's right in the middle of the range. You really want it the 7 o'clock push down at the top. At the top, and you didn't get the 7, you got the 8. So 8 o'clock did push up, give us some more opportunity, and then we'll push down from here. All right. So you set that up to when your take profit hit, that your limit will kick in for the sale. No, the limit will take me out of the trade completely when that's hit. So either or is going to take me out. The buy stop will take me out of the trade in loss, or I can move it into profit before I go to bed. The buy limit, which is opposite of the sale that I'm in, will take me out in profit as well. So either one of those being triggered will take me out of the trade. All right, we'll let that one play out, see if that plays out. We're going to try to see if it inks down and gives us any type of room, but we need this level broken to make it all the way down here into this liquidity level. Need this level broke. So we'll see if that happens. And if we're going to sell off, and we know that once it starts rolling, then yeah. Good evening, Priscilla. Good to see you. Tamisha, in and out, 2K. What are you in and out of? You're a Nikkei? All right, let's talk about entries a little bit with entries. So a few ways to take an entry. I want to actually go and do this on NQ because I love the way what I was seeing with NQ today. It was a crazy run up today, but I see something interesting, and we'll go back to Nikkei to see if we can find, in Nikkei sales, see if we can find, see this on the same place. But I want to test it on, I want to back test on NQ, show you the back test on NQ, and then we'll go to Nikkei, see if we can see the same thing. And I was just talking with someone today about trading, and it's like, you know, with this skill set, you're going to be able to do a lot. You know, it doesn't really matter what the market is doing. I mean, you should be at a point where you can find the trade that you're looking for. All right, and there's going to be a few different signals to do it. Now, a large part of how we trade, unless the market is trending, market's been moving sideways. So right now we can just identify that the market's moving sideways. When we go to Nikkei, it's not moving sideways, it's moving down, but it's moving down in a trend. And so those are two different markets. This one moving down in a trend, and then this one moving sideways. So that's really quick to identify, you know, and you're going to play out how you're going to handle that in both type of markets. Now, when you look at Nikkei, it's interesting over the last few weeks what Nikkei has been doing in the sideways market. It has introduced a lot of different things. One, it's introduced this consolidation to the upside, right? And that kind of consolidation is very dangerous to trade. But so we have to recognize when that type of market is existing, where it's, you know, it's really tight, it's bouncing up and down. But one of the things that it introduced is this slide down to a level of support, then produced a really deep shark fin there, right? So that's one thing that we could indicate is that, okay, after a very bullish or bearish move, that a higher time frame outside of the 1 minute, outside of the 5 minute, but going to the 15 minute, 30 minute, that it gives us a deeper level of exhaustion on the higher time frame. That's something that's key to identify, number one. And so that's what this does here. It gives us a deep shark fin and then the push up, right? Same thing happened today, is that it gives us that push down, and then it gives us a really nice shark fin on the 15 minute. We're not looking at this on the 1 minute, 5 minute, because those bigger push down is going to give you a nice return up. Usually a B pattern, or a U pattern, but we see those type of patterns happen over and over again. Today was one of those days where you see that pattern. But you see a breakdown of the extreme. So right here is very tight. So you have this push down, 15 minute gives you that really deep shark fin, and then a push up. That first 15 minutes of that doesn't give you that 15 minute shark fin. It gives you the indicator that is pushing down. It's not until that second 15 minute candle comes that shows you a sign of exhaustion. And then that next candle starts to cup it up. And that's the candle to take it up on to the upside. Same thing that happened here is that you had a really nice sell down initially that pushes down to a previous level of support. And we can stretch that a little further to see that level of support. But then give you that 15 minute shark fin for the push up, right? So those are kind of the things that we're looking for. Also, what we're looking for is the tightness of the movement. So this is really tight, which is hard to trade. But over here, you have sort of a range down where it's bouncing and it's getting wider. It's getting wider here, but it's bouncing. And then you have a liquidity grab outside of that range and then the shoot up. Right. And so those are things that we can pay attention to as possible places of entry where we get the momentum going in one direction and we can catch it and then it moves in consolidation, and then we're out of it. All right, so when we go over to Nikkei and take a look at that, we're looking at areas of where we possibly could see that those kind of occurrences happen, and back test when we would want to get into those type of trades, right? And so on the lower time frame, you know, when we're trying to go to sleep and let the trades run, we really don't want to trust the lower time frames. You really want to come up to that 15-minute again, that 30-minute, 15-minute, 30-minute, and look for really levels of exhaustion. And so would you ask yourself, when I'm back testing, this is the way I do it, is that I ask myself, would I want to be in this trade and all night? And the answer is yes. Most of your answers would be yes. So what would put you in that trade? And it's things like this. So for instance, this one has a really deep shark fin that we're going to identify. That's a really deep buy shark fin. And then we have somewhat of divergence here, but it's on a trend line, it's on a level of support. But when we go to the 5-minute and take a look at that, and this is what we're back testing, because when you get familiar with this, you can see it over and over again. And so you're going to see that this first one was a really deep shark fin on the 5-minute that barely played out. And so that wasn't the move. That buy, it came down, it pushed up, and then it pushed down again, right? So this one really wasn't the move. It was really the second one that came down that was the move. And so all we would have had to do was pull out to the 15-minute and see that 15-minute move, or that 5-minute push down that created the shark fin, on the 15-minute was really deep, that we can count that as the bottom. When we scroll left, it's a level of support. I mean, you can find that confluence all day. It's a level of support here. It's exhaustion on the 15-minute, and we can allow this to play out for a few minutes without, you know, getting into too much trouble. Right, and so we look for stuff like that for entries, like that kind of confluence, a higher time frame, deep shark fin, a lower time frame level of confluence telling you to get into the trade. And where else did we see that? Well, you know, here's another one where you would have caught the buy, but there's nothing over here that says that we should be in buys over here, right? On the sell down, same thing. We have a deep shark fin here. We have a deep shark fin here. Have a deep shark fin here. You would have want to been in that. You would have want to been in this one. You would have want to been in this one, right? And so from a timing standpoint, when we look left, those are all occurring at certain levels. And so when you're entering and exiting trades, you got to see how true you're staying to your levels. So on this one, if I wanted to be in this trade, yeah, shark fin is breaking the bands. We're up around the 75. That's a level on a level of structure. That's a level. So yeah, get into that. Over here, we're breaking the bands. We're above the 75 on the 15-minute, on the higher time frame. That's a level. Yeah, get into that. Right. Here, same thing. Breaking the bands close to that 75, that's a level. So tonight, when we're here, where I took the trade, you can see that we're not on a level. Like, we're not breaking the band. And let me just do this here. Get a little closer. Because you can pretty much tell if something's going to work out or not. So over here, we're not breaking a level. We're on the 15-minute. We're not breaking a level like we did over here. We're not breaking a level. We're not on the trend line. And so when we take it in the middle like that, where it's not on a level, where it's not on the trend line, you're putting yourself in a lot of risk to take the entry early like this. is one of the reasons I wanted to take it here is so you see what it does when it or what type of risk that it puts you in. That price still wants to push up. Now, one of the things that is interesting is that when you notice that you're not like, okay, I'm not on the level right now, and it's pushing up. I'm not on a level. I'm not close to the 75. It's not breaking the band. I don't have that extreme exhaustion. When you see that and you go up higher time frames, it gets worse. So let's see if what's going on with my TDI on the higher time frames. Not sure what's going on with my 30-minute, 45 minutes working in. So you can see it gets worse. I'm down below the 50. I'm just now breaking the bands on the hour. I still have room to push up. And so if it's not on your level, if it's not on the level that you want it on, that is the reason why you see a lot of individuals getting stopped out or taking a trade before it's time to take it, because it's not on the level. Now, the way that you can understand that is just by doing that back test, just by seeing that. And this is a nice trend where, price really reacted to this level. But if it's not there, then why take it? Why take it there? All right. And so price is going to push up to this level. 15 minutes going to work itself out the same way it did in these previous trends. And so that's the way that you enter, but that's also the way that you exit. Because if I saw a really, if I got in on, say, this divergence that's here, there's actual divergence that's here, and this is the trend line, but the push down back to, doesn't matter if the trend line touches here, any push down to that level, you can count it as the same as the trend line. So you have that push down. Let's say you saw the divergence here and you got in on that sell. The same thing that puts you, the way that we enter that off of the trend line on our level is the same way that we exit it. When we exit off of the same confluence. It was true that it was on a trend line. And so because it was on the trend line, it's time to exit. It's like, well, I'm getting out of this sale. It doesn't, I'm taking the loss here. Similar to what we did with NQ earlier. So with VWAP being here, as it started to push up, it was a retest right here of a level. And so it's all about identifying your levels, where you're at in space. Usually if a trade doesn't work out, it's because you haven't properly identified the level, right? And that's the reason for our top-down analysis. Now, this is a dynamic level, which means that it's not a horizontal, it's not straight across. Price is trending, so it's moving down. Over here on NQ, we have horizontal levels, right? Where price is resistance, and then it becomes support, because it's not in a trend, it's in consolidation, it's moving sideways. So you're gonna find more horizontal levels in consolidation. And then when you go over to where it's trending, like it is here, you're gonna find more dynamic type of trend setups here, right? And so this is what price is doing. Price is open right here. It's pushing to the upside. Where is it going to exhaust? Well, you look at the 15-minute and say, well, now we're starting to break the band. So we'll probably get that exhaustion here pretty soon, but that's going to be closer to the level. So in lieu of catching the price right here at the open, why not wait closer to the level for it to, for the 15-minute to shape up before entering into these type of trades, right? And that's the case with trending markets, but that's also the case with consolidated markets, is that where is TDI when it reaches the level? In Q, on this one, it was a level, 15-minute level. That pushed down to, we saw the exhaustion here multiple times, horizontal level, because we're in consolidation. So we saw price spike down here, even grab liquidity before heading up, did the same thing. Nikkei, this is the pattern. We don't have to, and here's the thing, we don't have to stretch too far over. The TDI is going to tell you when to get into this trade, but we found the level. And so as long as you're finding the levels, seeing how price is moving, you should be fine with your entries. You should be fine with your exits. Will it push up? Say you're in a buy. You're like, well, I'm going to take it up to the level. Okay, take it up to the level. If it pushes up past that and you got out, like, well, I wanted to catch all of that. Well, that's a business decision. If you want to catch all of it and stay in it longer, you can do that. If you think that you have the confluence for that, if you see levels up there and you see momentum heading in that direction, yeah, you can do that. Or you can just set a goal of what you want to hit for the night and the day and say, okay, I'm fine with making 1,000 on it or 2,000 on it and being done. And as soon as it gets up to that level, I'll take it. If it runs past that, that's fine. I'll just take it where I need to take it. All right, so hopefully that helps with entries and exits, is just identifying your levels. Sometimes they're going to be horizontal, sometimes they're going to be dynamic, and as a means of getting out. I do like this level here as possibly taking the short here. A couple of boxes that it checks for me is it's on the dynamic trend. There has been clear resistance here before. We actually pushed up from the low, pushed up to that level before and got knocked back down. So I do like that level as well. And as a possibility up there. All right, what questions do you have tonight? Or does that make sense for everybody? Went through that kind of fast, but wanted to see if that made sense for everybody. We've crossed over 8:30, so the 30-minute is, first 30 minutes is closed. Second 30 minutes at play on the hour. 7 o'clock high is sitting over here. Right at that level. We're coming back up to retest that 7 o'clock candle now. And I'm not sure why my 30-minute isn't working. Not sure what that means, but I am not able to, let me hit my refresh button. There it goes. All right, so that's the 15. Oh, let me hit the 30. Yeah, there's the 30-minute. So 30 minutes starting to get exhausted. Once it's exhausted, 9 o'clock should turn it around. We've seen that before. Seen that it breaks the bands. The next candle turns it around. We got the exhaustion up in this area. Pretty good idea. I actually want to pull my stop above that 7 o'clock. Really just wanted to pull up just above this area, above the 7 o'clock, just to give it a little chance there. Don't want to risk that much though. So I'm gonna shed half the risk here. That'll be a good exercise. I'll show you how to shed half the risk. All right, so we'll take half the risk off when it gets to this point. As if I stop, let's change that to 1. We're gonna take one of the contracts off there. The second contract we're gonna take out here. All right, we're gonna take it up a little higher. There on that one. All right, and or we could do this. We could shed one of the contracts now. So let's do that. And that I'm going to do that manually. Do that by pushing this button. Hit sell 1. Oops, I'm in a sale. I meant to hit buy 1. Excuse me. Buy 1. All right, so now we're in one contract. And it takes the most recent buy. So that's the reason why this moved up a little higher. It canceled the lower order and brung it up to the higher order. So now I'm in one contract instead of 2. Just shed my risk a little bit, move my stop up a little bit to manage this trade. We got done a little late. Took off a lot of the risk. I didn't see all of your comments unless all the comments came in at once. Do you look at fair value gaps? Yeah, I only look at fair value gaps if it's a breakaway range. That's the only time a fair value gap. In my viewpoint of this type of a market, if there's a breakaway, like for instance here, price came up here and it was a breakaway range, right? And so this breakaway range will come up, and once it breaks away, then we'll come up into the fair value gap. And so you can see that's what happened, that there's a fair value gap right here that was created at the top of that breakout. So we pushed up here. That's the candle 1. Candle 2 was the breakout, and then candle 3. And so we broke out. We never came back up to retest. So we broke out, and then we pushed back up into that fair value. Right. So that's how I use fair value. Something as tight as this. Oops. Something as tight as this, I wouldn't. Where are you going to find the fair value in this consolidated range? So I wouldn't really be looking for fair value here. I just identify the ranges more so. And right here we have clear resistance. So that's what I'm really looking at. This is actually a fair value if you look at it. You just have to extend it down a little bit. And that would be considered fair value from this momentum candle. All right. What else? You mentioned it was divergent, but I didn't see it. Yeah, where do we see the divergence at? So it's actually in a range. So there's divergence on both sides. When it gets up here, for this current divergence, we would want this is the touch of the top of the trend. When this pushes up higher and candle body close, what we're going to want to see is when that pushes up higher, what we're going to want to see is if this stays lower down here. And that would be with trend. That would be because the trend's going down, so that would be hidden divergence. I don't think we have a 50 MA up there. 50 MAs at the bottom, so that erases that piece. We would have to see price push up to the 200 to get the divergence, the 200 there, and then price stay, or TDI stays lower here. That would be divergence. Yeah, but I took a lot of the risk off, not really confident on this. Put a lot of, I think more of the risk should be put up here off of the trend tonight, if you're looking at the sales. I'm gonna shift to the hour. We can see 7 o'clock or 6 o'clock pushed up, 7 o'clock pushed up, and rejected off this level. We're gonna see if 8 o'clock can push up here and reject off of this level, because we're gonna be looking for the sales, because we want it to go in the direction of the trend. Nikkei moves well when it moves with trend, right? And so the trend for Nikkei tonight is just like this. That's the trend for tonight. So that's what we want to see tonight. That's what we want to see. Then if this level gets broke, then we want to see a retest and then continue to the upside. The bigger, that's where the bigger trend is on the, if I pull out, I go to the 8 hour maybe. You can see that that's where the bigger trend is. If we break out of this and head up and touch this area. But for right now, we're leaving it as is until it proves us wrong. Good questions. All right, any other questions for tonight? We talked about entries, we talked about exits. We're in this Nikkei trade. We took the trade actually right here, then shed the risk. But we talked about why that was not a good idea. 15-minute still had room to push up. It was the middle of the range. You want to catch those at the right level. So just get good at catching these at the right level, and it will save you lots and lots of capital in your accounts. All right, cool. So with this is the trade idea. Starting to get that slow down. We're about 11 minutes away from the 8 o'clock. We're going to see how 9 o'clock opens up. Looking left, this has been a level where we've gotten the rejections down. This has also been a level where the trend became friend for the sellers. And we're going to see if we can catch some sales in here. I'll watch it for another few minutes and then get the push down. Yeah, good to see you, Desmond. Glad your questions are getting answered, and that's what we're using this time for. Go back and test those shark fins. You know, it's really about seeing what you want to see, what puts you into the sale, and that may change from time to time. You know, if you really look at what you want to see and how you want to see it, you know, you can very quickly find an idea. You know, 15-minute shark fin right here. You know, that exhaustion, the green candle, that's a great buy right there. Right, if you miss the sell down, that's a great buy. Same here, great buy opportunity based off of a 15. So if you see that, that's what you like. If you see that 15-minute and that's what you like, would you catch the buy here? No. Why? Well, because it's not the same. It's not the same. It's not, doesn't have the same confluence, right? And so, you know, you can, maybe it'll go, but it doesn't look the same. There's not this it doesn't have, you want that exhaustion, you want that push down, just like these guys, right? So you want it to look the same. In Q, would you take this one based on where it's at? It doesn't look the same as this, as even this, you know, as clean as this looks, as clean as that looks. Doesn't look the same. So the more that you back test these, this one right here, the clean break, then push back up. Like the more that you back test it, the more that you find the levels that you want, the easier it is going to be on these entries. Yeah, you're at a level right here. Yeah, there is a level of resistance. Yeah, there was some push down, but does that look like everywhere else you said you would have bought? No, it doesn't. It doesn't. None of these buys here, 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 here looks like this, right? US 30. I would have want to bought that. I would probably have to back test that, but I don't like the 15-minute. So, you go to a 30-minute and take a look at it, a deep 30-minute break. Oh, yeah, I would have took that one. I would have took that one. Would have took that one. Would have took this one over here. All right, so current price action. Would you take that? No, it doesn't look like this. This doesn't look like any of those. So why would I take this one? Right. So that's another way to look at your entries of like looking left. What would have put you into the ones that you wanted? And does current price look like that? No, it doesn't. So why would I take it? Now, would I have taken this down? Yeah. Or this one up here down. And then you back test and look at what levels was it on. Wasn't necessarily any confluence to introduce you into the sale, but it was for the buy, right? So in lieu of at this level, yeah, you can take it down, but the buys are more attractive, right? Before we leave today, can you show again how we can enter a date and time and move to a specific time in the chart? Yeah, that's alt what? Diana gave us that. It's alt something. Hit the alt button. And Diana, you had to tell me what that is. It's alt something. I forgot what she hit. Alt T, alt G, alt G. There. Oh, look at that. Alt T is trend line. Oh, I just learned something new. The alt button is my key. Yeah, just out alt T. You could do a trend line with alt T. You don't have to run over here. You can just hit alt T and do a trend line. That's cool. Save me a little time. All right, so alt G is that. Let's try it again. Not control G, alt G. There it is. Which was really helpful when we were doing it, to go to a specific time and date. All right. Well, that's what I'm going to leave this trade on for the night. I reduced it down to one. Do trade ideas right here, which is really what I want to see anyway. Pulled right up above the trend line, pulled up above the 7 o'clock high. We'll see if this area holds up. We did get one spike up a little bit above it over here, but that was the only one. So if there was liquidity, that may be an area that you want to be above, but right now we're not. We're going to hold tight with this and see if we get the exhaustion here or not. All right, everyone, we're about 5 minutes out. 9 o'clock's going to open up. And treat this trade good or treat it not good. We will see. We will see. It's a game of probabilities. But good charting tonight. We'll be back on in the morning for our morning markets. We're going to leave this one on tonight. I'll probably what I'll probably do, because I reduced the risk, I'll probably bring up the trade idea to about right here where the exhaustion was, because usually when these sell down, this is usually about the area that it sells down to. So the trade idea will probably look something like that for tonight. All right. Well, we'll let that trade run. See everybody on in the morning. Good charting time. Appreciate everybody. And yeah, hopefully that was helpful. But let's do it again in the morning. All right, everyone. Have a good night.